Stuff. So yeah, I mean, really, what was sort of a topic of conversation was, we spend a lot of time and effort on marketing. We go to events, we go onto social media, we have our web page, and quite often we miss the trick of turning those efforts into actual leads, which is one of the key objectives of all this effort. So it's really to focus on the sales aspect of these things rather than the marketing aspect. Marketing is very important. We need to do marketing. We need to raise awareness of our business. But at the end of the day, all that work is meaningless unless we can actually convert it into sales at the end of the day. So that's really what I'd like to discuss, how we can do this. So I'll do a brief introduction of myself. David knows me, but the others I'm new to. Go through quickly the 4 pillars of sales, just to put this into context. Discuss how we can have our marketing strategy that is sales driven rather than marketing driven. For small businesses, this is key to the effectiveness of it all. What are the marketing channels which we can use to meet our sales objectives? Look at the multi-channel approach versus the omni-channel approach, which is 2 slightly different ways of working. And then to look at, well, we all know the sales funnel, but what is the real sales funnel, and have an understanding of what the real sales funnel is in real life rather than on paper or in our CRM systems. So is that fairly clear?
Yeah.
Yep, good stuff. So just a brief introduction of myself. I am based in Colombia at the moment. I've been living in Colombia for the last sort of 10 years. I've joined SME Skills, who are the sales consultancy franchise. I bought the franchise for Colombia. I've been running it in Colombia for the last just over a year, just before the pandemic. A great timing. And I'm in the process of relocating back to the UK. So the wonderful world of internet, the idea is I'll be able to continue with my Colombian business and looking after my Colombian clients, but also to expand in the UK. I'll be based in the London area, but as we've got Istiak here from Bangladesh and David from Colombia, these days there are no national boundaries to consultancy. I'm an engineer by profession. So you'll see 2 things that are key being an engineer. One is my presentations are very boring in terms of they have no artistic flair whatsoever. They're very prosaic. And the other thing is I do like to map things out. Engineering is about mapping things out from start to finish. And this is one thing I've noticed in all professions: lawyers, accountants, marketing people, engineers. In their own core business, they have processes, they have procedures, they have ways of working standardized. But when it comes to the sales part of things, all of a sudden it's ad hoc. So one of the things that I've been doing throughout my career as general manager of different companies is to try and apply the same rigor that companies apply to the core area of their business to the sales area, to have procedures laid out, processes laid out, a way of working, so that we can have repeatability, we can evaluate the effectiveness of each stage of the process, and we can improve where necessary. So this is a key belief of mine, is that we need to, in sales, have this same rigor in procedures and ways of working. So SME Skills, it's been around for 10 years now. We work in various countries around the world. And as I say, we are now a truly international organization. Quickly just moving on to the subject matter. And the reason I'm showing you this is because over the next few months, I will be running a series of webinars, which will be based on these 4 pillars. The 4 pillars that we believe every small business should have to form part of its sales system. We need a strategy, a sales strategy. whereby we generate the leads, we build our pipeline. I'll talk a little bit more about this. We need a sales process, a sales pitch, and a sales attitude. So as I say, the strategy is we need to identify our sales targets. We need to identify how we are going to obtain those targets, what actions we need to take, and we need a process in place to measure our effectiveness in meeting our targets. We do need a process. We do need this procedure that says once we have a person who's interested, how can we convert them into a client in a proceduralized manner? Obviously, each case will be slightly different, but there should be core elements that form part of our process. Supporting the process is going to be communication. It's going to be the pitch. It's going to be the understanding the client's needs. It's going to be overcoming objections. It's going to be communicating our value proposition in an effective way to build trust and interest in our services. And finally, we need the attitude. We need a winning attitude. We need to position our company, our services ahead of the competition. And we need to believe that we are doing good for our clients. And in this interchange of them giving us money and then giving them a service, the real winners are the companies receiving the service. And we need to build that attitude that we are not selling them a service, they are receiving value. So as I said, I'm going to be giving a few webinars over the upcoming months that will discuss key issues on each of these areas. But today we're going to focus on two key aspects of the strategy. And I'll start off by talking about the sales funnel. I imagine all of you have seen the sales funnel. Yep, your sales pipeline, some people call it. Nodding, Jordan's nodding. Marsha, are you nodding? Yeah. So it's a fairly simple concept, but it's too simple in some ways. But basically, it's a fairly simple concept of we have a funnel or a pipeline. At one end, either the top or at the side, we do our marketing activities in order to obtain people to enter our pipeline. And the people enter at the top, and then they either leave at the bottom down here as clients, which we hope, but inevitably we are going to lose a lot of them along the way for various reasons. And the process of this pipeline is typically we carry out our marketing activities. We then have some form of initial communication with them, some form of initial telephone call, or we meet them in a marketing event. We have our opening pitch. We try to get some form of opportunity to present our services to them. We hope that they then ask for us to present them an offer, and then we negotiate and they decide whether or not they want to contract with us. So in general terms, this applies to most goods or services that we sell in a general manner. Our process is this in general terms, and this is a process that most companies follow more or less to close out the sale. And this is our pipeline. Now, most people start at the top, and we define our marketing activities, and we rush out and we set up a web page. We join some networking groups. How many of you guys have a web page? You have one. Jordan has. Question: how many leads, how many clients have you got from your web page? Is it an effective tool for obtaining clients?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just started my website.
Okay.
So I haven't even started promoting it yet.
Okay,
yeah.
Right. Well, best of luck. Best of luck. Yeah, I mean, we get this answer. Some people it's great. Other people they say it's not working. It depends a lot on how it's used. For me, the web page is a bit like a business card. It's a very fancy business card. You give your business card to somebody, they might respond. You might be lucky that they need that service at that time, but mostly your business card will go into their they let them, well, this is before the pandemic, and when people had business cards, you know, you put it into the portfolio or something and never look at it again. You know, you really need to, why do you have a web page, and how are you going to generate leads from your web page? Istaki, my advice would be, you know, once you've got your web page, you then need to say, well, how am I going to drive traffic to my web page? Is it through Google Ads? Is it through social media? Is it through, and we'll talk about this later when we talk about the omni-channel marketing, how you can leverage the investment you've made in your web page to generate clients, because there's a lot of web pages out there, and a lot are pretty dormant. Some are very successful, and it'll be interesting. You know, Jordan, you say yours is successful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's my job.
Experience. Yeah,
that's my job, is websites.
Okay.
Create websites for clients and software, and it always comes down to, you know, the company. There's a lot of people out there who's doing the same thing as you, and if you have a website, they're going to go with you.
That's right.
Over everybody else.
Yeah,
most definitely. And you know, people are dead skeptical about spending money on a website for the business, but you end up getting that back.
Yeah.
You know, without a doubt.
Definitely.
And you end up getting more business. It's just how you utilize it, definitely.
Correct. It's how you utilize it. And the other great thing about web isn't just to find leads, and we'll talk about this when we talk about omni-channel. It's once you've got an interested client that you might have met through a network, the first thing they'll do is open up their phone and look for your website. And if you don't have a website, you're losing credibility in this world. So as Jordan says, you know, it's almost a prerequisite these days that if you're talking to me in a networking meeting on the taxi on the way home, because I've had a few glasses of wine, I'm in the back seat of the taxi, I'll open up my phone and I'll look up your website. So you need to identify exactly why you have a website and how you're going to use it. It's a tool. The website, I think you agree with that, Jordan. It's a tool. If you don't use it properly, you can have the best hammer in the world, but if you don't know which end to pick it up with, you're not going to knock in many nails.
Definitely, especially if it's, you know, you're selling something or a product. You need a website. It's number one. Yeah,
definitely. Services are a bit different, and we're going to love to talk about the differences between products and services. And in social media and websites, selling services is very more complicated. But what we need to do, we need to start at the bottom of our sales funnel, and we need to work our way up. So what we always recommend is, when you start off, you identify, well, what are your sales targets? Because at the end of the day, it's the sales that are going to grow your business. How many new clients do you want to win per month? How much revenue do you want to get per month are the two key metrics. And then you work up the way and you say, well, for every new lead that I have, what's my conversion rate? So if I have a conversion rate of say 10-1 and I want 5 new clients, I need 50, 5 times 10 new leads. That's my target for my marketing. I need to generate 50 new leads in order to get 5 new clients per month, which is my target. And for that, how many connections do I make? How many people do I need to give my business card to in a networking event for one of them to say, I need that service, let's talk? How many LinkedIn followers do you need in order for one of them to say, tell me more about your service? How many events do I need to run in order for the event attendees to say, tell me more about your services? Once you've got that number, you can start defining your marketing activities. You can say, right, I've got my web page. I'm going to run once per month. I'm going to run a campaign that is going to drive visitors to my website, because I know that for each campaign, I might get 100 people interested. And of the 100 people who are interested, I might get 10 leads. So you're defining your marketing activities based on, at the end of the day, what's critical for your company, which is sales. So that's the first thing. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, great. So and that's what we do with our clients. When we talk about strategy, that's where you work from the bottom of your funnel, and then what are your why are you doing your marketing? And that way we can focus our marketing efforts on key metrics, and then we can measure whether we are achieving them. Did our LinkedIn campaign drive 100 new leads? Did our webpage receive 200 visitors that we needed in the month? And if it didn't, what can we do to improve that situation? It gives us a visibility on how to improve our marketing. So various ways of marketing, and these are some of the key ones I'd say, just quickly to run through them. What we'd say is referrals is by far, for small companies, the most dominant. You know, have you guys, for how many of you is referrals your number one source of leads? Yep, Marsha. Istaq, are you, do you drive your leads by referrals? How do you get your leads?
Give me a second. Yeah, so basically, yeah, I am looking into that right now. Referrals, it's a very, very, in my opinion, very free way of getting leads.
Yep.
But it's completely, you know, like very cost effective.
Yep.
However, I would not say I've been that successful. Yeah.
Okay. Referrals are wonderful because they come with a person that is already interested, and they always have some form of confidence in you already by the fact that you've been referred to them by somebody. So, you know, if I say, listen, it's Tap, I know this great website developer, Jordan, I'll give you his number. When you speak to Jordan, you've already got this level of trust in Jordan because you've come referred by somebody else who you know. So the conversion rates for referrals is very high. The problem with the referrals is we have no control over them. You know, because we might get 10 one month and then none the next. So, you know, you might find that this month you haven't had many referrals, but next month all of a sudden you might get a load. So it's very hard to plan. And secondly, there's not normally enough of them for you to grow your business. There's normally enough to start off your business, and it's normally enough to get going. But if you really want to grow your business and have control of your business, you can't just rely on referrals. But they should always be you should be looking for referrals. You should be, whenever you're talking to, if you're talking to friends from university or friends from your previous job or your next door neighbor, let them know what you do and tell them, listen, I'm looking for referrals. Do you know anybody who needs my services? Because you can't just sit back and wait for them to come in. You've got to go out and look for them.
One of the things that I know I have seen that is at least working for me is that, you know, in the last 6 months that I've received a couple of referrals, but mostly because I actually made it worthwhile for the referrer.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, if it's like, if I get a, it's kind of like affiliate marketing, basically.
Yeah. I mean, that's a different matter. That's where commission-based referencing is a different, because they don't come with the level of trust. And that's a different way. What we call those are more strategic partners, and I'll talk a little bit about them, whereby we look for people where we can look for some form of mutual benefit. And it might be that I share my contacts with your contacts, or it might be that I'll pay you a commission if you put me in contact with people who I then subsequently win the job for. But when we talk about referrals, we're normally talking more that just somebody from goodwill because you've given them a good service. Normally, if I get a great website from Jordan and you're looking for somebody to do a website, I'd be more than happy to recommend Jordan for it's just because I feel I owe Jordan. I mean, not Jordan's debt, because although I've paid for his services, if he's given me a great service, I'm in his debt and I can repay that debt. It's moral debt. Well, I hope not in his financial debt. I hope I've paid my bills, but I'm in his moral debt because he's done a great job for me and I'm happy to refer him. And that's really what we want to do, is to do a great job for our clients and then go to them and say, who can you refer me to? And normally your clients will be very happy to refer you if you've done a good job for them.
Sure.
Networking is a good old-fashioned way. I don't know, are you guys are you part of networks like chambers of commerce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the local chamber of commerce. I'm on 2 different subcommittees. So, it's one of my go-to for, business expansion, basically.
Yeah, they're definitely there. There's a number of them out there. Definitely recommend them. Are you in networks, Marsha?
I used to be a membership manager of a networking group, but with COVID, we moved, with that particular client, we moved our resources to the other side of the business. So at the moment, no.
Okay.
But hoping to, after next week, possibly look at, it just depends on the circumstances outside.
That's right. And again, what we need is clear targets. Just to turn up for a network once a week or once a month, or these days log onto the Zoom and then leave. It's not really doing what we need. What we need is to set ourselves a target to say, from this particular network group, I want to generate at least 2 clients per month, or two leads per month that will then at least help me meet my marketing objectives. So for each of your networking groups, you should be identifying how many leads do I want to generate per month and how am I going to do it? Which people in this networking group are my ideal clients? I need to set up meetings with them. I need to understand their needs. So again, from your sales target, you should be identifying from my networking group, how many leads am I looking to generate each month?
Understood.
Events, seminars, forums, great ways of meeting people. This type of event that I'm doing here, it's a great way to meet you guys. It's a great way to get my my services known to you. They should form part of almost I'd say all small businesses' armory of marketing, because you are experts in your field. You have knowledge and your expertise to share. And if you share it, then you are benefiting the people who are listening to it, but you're also positioning your company as being the expert in the field. So what field are you in? Istaq, I'm looking at your eco business. What does eco business do?
Yeah, so I am in the I'm a 3rd generation entrepreneur here based in Bangladesh, and I do have a running business that's over 40 years old. It kind of runs by itself. It's got a GM, it's got managers and everything. They run the whole show, while I am exploring other opportunities right now. So is environment related business is something that I'm interested in. I lost about $1.2 million on a project about a couple of years ago, recycling project. But even though I lost the money, I kind of got the idea of, okay, you know what, this is the place where you can actually make money if you get things, you get it right, right?
Yeah.
So I started Eco Business Initiative Limited as a result, and the idea is to bring projects into Bangladesh, projects, services in the Bangladesh, eco-friendly projects, and basically give them out to them, hand over to the masses, basically. So we've already signed up at least one major deal. We are in talks with a couple more. Let's see. The pandemic has slowed down the, I guess, process, but we're in talks right now.
Yeah, I mean, so you can give events or on the economic benefits of recycling, the environmental benefits of recycling, the health benefits of recycling, the rules, the regulations regarding recycling. there's a whole range of topics which you can share with interested people, companies who might be looking at, can we do more for recycling? You've got a range of very interesting subjects there that you can talk about, and you can share your expertise in the area, all this wonderful stuff you learned while losing $1.2 million. You can start using that as capital to educate the next group of people who might be thinking of doing the same thing.
One of the things I've learned is that has worked for me is that I told people, listen, I lost this much money. I don't want to lose any more money. So how about, you tell me where this is what I want to do. You tell me exactly where I'm wrong. Okay.
That's
so,
right,
it's worked for me. Everybody's and one of the things about this in the eco-friendly field is that a lot of people are actually very interested in helping out. Those who have solutions, they feel like they need to roll the technologies out and make sure it reaches a lot of people.
That's right.
It's a be.
Yeah. No, that's great, Billy. And it's the sort of thing that social media is great for. You can go on to the former ones like LinkedIn, but you can also go onto Instagram, onto Twitter, because the subject matter is of interest to people. People are interested about the planet. They're interested about how we can recycle better. So you can go onto the less formal social platforms, because the daughter of the managing director of a company might be the person who you share an Instagram with. And she might speak to her father and say, listen, I've just seen this great article on how companies should be recycling. What are you doing, Dad? The great thing of social media is we don't just have to be formal attacking our or looking for our direct clients. We position ourselves within society. These are our values and these are our benefits to everybody. So, you can look at the less formal social media like Pinterest, Twitter, what's TikTok and Instagram, all these ones that are attacking the people are just looking out for entertainment more than anything, but you're planting that seed into their minds. Digital marketing, obviously, I'm not going to talk about digital marketing. Everybody knows we need to do it. It's essential these days. You get Jordan, make you a great web page, get onto LinkedIn. You're all on LinkedIn, because I think most of you I think are contacted with via LinkedIn. Again, targeted with clear targets, clear objectives. Why are you on LinkedIn? Why are you on Twitter? Why do you have a web page? It's to get, at the end of the day, two things. One is general awareness, but the other is to generate leads. So how am I going to generate? Why am I on Instagram? This tack will say I'm on Instagram because I want to target the, I want to make people aware generally of my company and the benefit it brings to society. Therefore, all my posts on Instagram will be geared towards that message I want to send across. I won't be publishing things about the government regulations. I'll be publishing things about the benefit to the planet. But if I'm on LinkedIn, my audience will be a different audience. I might be want to concentrate more on regulations, cost benefit, benefits to the company image, because I know my audience on LinkedIn are likely to be more business type. So again, identify why you are doing everything, all your marketing activities. Why am I here? Why am I doing it? Why am I spending my valuable time on it? What are the objectives that I want out of it? And measure against those objectives. Telemarketing. Going out of fashion, but for small businesses, it can be very useful if it's used in a targeted manner. I would not recommend just blanket telemarketing, but it does have a role, as I will explain in a minute. Email campaigns, again, if they are targeted, personalized, and they're not just random, get out there 2,000 emails a day, I don't recommend that. But I would recommend that using emails effectively is one of the most effective ways to communicate with to generate leads. And strategic partners, we mentioned a bit earlier with this stacky there. There are companies there that have similar clients to you so you can work alongside. So for example, I'm in sales. So I might have identify a strategic partner of mine might be an HR consultant. Because I'll say, if I win this company more sales, they're going to need to employ more people. And therefore you are going to benefit from it. So if you help me to find clients to win more sales, I will refer you either out of the goodness of my heart or by some financial arrangement to, when they need to employ more people, they'll contact you. So you give me your address list, you give me your contacts, and you put me in contact. You you set up a meeting with your contacts for me. And I will, when I win them more sales and they grow their business, refer them back to you, and you will benefit from it as well. That's a sort of strategic partnership that is very valuable for small businesses. The benefit is it can work incredibly well. The bad news is, as Tony put it very succinctly once, you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find your prince. To find a good strategic partner works isn't easy. You have to, quite often you have to go through 3, 4, 5 that don't work well before you find one that does work well. But when it works well, it works very well. So basically, this is what the recommendation is. We do this multiple channel marketing. We identify the number of leads we need from referrals, the number of leads we need from networking, etc. And we add them all together and we say that's how we are going to generate the 50 leads that we need every month in order to generate our 5 clients. That's the approach which we're looking at each of the marketing aspects. We say how many leads we're looking to generate, and you will quickly find out which ones work well, which ones don't work well, and you normally end up concentrating on maybe 2 or 3 and then having 1 or 2 additional ones in support. But that's the sort of the multi-channel marketing approach. Is that fairly clear up to now?
Yeah.
You okay there, David? Are you understanding my English?
Very good.
Very good.
Very
okay.
Good. You are the master.
I'm glad. This is actually the first webinar I've actually given in English. So I had to stop myself from lapsing into Spanish all the time. But David is from Colombia, and Colombia are very famous for one thing. Or the one thing they're famous for in England is they're one of the very few countries who have lost to England in a penalty shootout. Very few companies actually lose to England in penalty shootouts, and in the World Cup, Colombia did, which actually amazed me.
Yes,
sorry
right.
to remind you about that, David. So,
no, it's
but we're still smarting from the penalty shootout which we lost to Italy last weekend. So here's another approach, and I'll use this as my way of working as an example of this approach. And this is what we call the omni-channel approach, whereby we are everywhere at once. We don't look at each marketing channel separately. We work them together to create this omnipresence in our marketplace. Big companies like Ford or Coca-Cola do this by spending billions of dollars on advertising and marketing. We don't have billions of dollars to spend, unfortunately, but we can create this sort of omnipresent approach in our niche market. And this is how we would do it. We combine the different channels. So typically two of my channels, especially now moving into England, where I don't have much of a presence still, I'm moving over. I have my networking event. I'm a member of the BNI. Do you know the BNI, Business Network International?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Ivan Meisner. He's one of my heroes.
He's the man. He's your man. Yes.
Heroes.
So I'm a member of the BNI here in Colombia, and I'll be becoming a member of the BNI when I move across to England. Great international networking group. I get a lot of my contacts through the BNI. I'm also a member of the Chamber of Commerce here, the British Chamber of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce of Bogota, where there are various events which I attend. And the other thing that I do is LinkedIn. Amazingly, I'm on Facebook, but I focus on social media, LinkedIn, and we have a corporate web page. So I work these two channels, and now the important thing is, how do I generate leads from them? So I'll take these two channels and I will contact the people via either email, via telephone, or via messaging on one of the social media platforms to understand, are you interested in attending this event? So you guys probably would have received an email from me. I don't think I called anybody. I tend to avoid the telephone, but you might have received messages from me telling you about the event, inviting you to the event, and I then run this event. After the event, I will be contacting you guys. I'll be contacting you by telephone or by email or by messaging to find out, how was it, what your thoughts are. Are you interested in taking it further? Maybe a presentation or a one-to-one meeting for me to explain more the services of SME skills. So here I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those different channels, but not separately. I'm using them in a combined form to meet my objective, my marketing objective, which is to generate leads. So I create my general awareness. I identify the interest in, are you interested in learning more about the subject matter via an event? During this event, establish a rapport, a communication. After the event, identify if there's a need for further collaboration. And we can sit down and we can develop a solution if the two parties are in agreement. That's my marketing process, my marketing stroke sales process. It's got a clear objective at each step, and I'm working the different channels to achieve my goal, which is to generate leads. So the general awareness is your marketing activities. You've then got this like interface between marketing and sales, which many companies don't focus on, and that's where the weakest link is. Once you're in the sales process, quite often they have salesmen, they'll have ways of working, but quite often the missing link is this interface between marketing and sales, where you're converting all your marketing efforts into a lead, and then the sales process can take that lead and negotiate a solution. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is really working all of your different channels as effectively as possible, rather than separately. So the final point I'd just like to mention, just looking at the time here, what time is it? 10:40. Okay, so I'll quickly go through this because running out of time as usual, I run out of time. This is, if you go to textbooks, if you go to any presentation, you'll see the sales funnel, you'll see this sales pipeline maybe. It doesn't work like this at all for small businesses selling services. It might work reasonably well if you're selling a motor car or you're selling a computer, whereby the person has an identified need because of all the marketing activities. They come in and they say, I need to buy a car, my old car needs replacing, I just need to choose the mark and the model, and then I'm going to buy it. The sales funnel is more or less designed for that scenario. But if we are selling services, or we are a small business which selling into the B2B sector, the situation is more complicated. And the trick is, what we don't want, once they've entered our sales funnel and we've got all our marketing activities, we spent all this effort in getting them into our sales funnel, we don't want to lose them. We want to convert them, but if we can't convert them, we want to retain them in our sales funnel, because in the future, they might have a need for our services. And we don't want to waste our marketing activities by having lost contact with them. So what is the real sales funnel or sales pipeline? This is the same process, and you'll see why I've done it in this way in a minute, where you've got your different marketing channels, some form of initial communication, a sales meeting, a proposal, negotiations, and decision. But what we want to happen is this. We have a sales meeting, and for some reason the person is not interested, or they're interested, but I haven't got budget at the moment. I've already got a contractor doing this. We don't have the need at the moment. We're reorganizing the company. I've got no time. I need to think about it. I'm not really sure I need this web page. You know, there's a number of, yeah, I'm interested, but under the standard pipeline, that's a lost opportunity. We try and get somebody else into our pipeline. Great, we always want to keep filling our pipeline, but we don't want to lose this person because they've shown through their initial communication, we've qualified them as being a good lead. We've qualified them as being a company that needs our services under the right circumstances, and they've met us. So we've created this communication, we've created this awareness, we've created a level of confidence and trust, which we don't want to lose. We really want to keep this person in our pipeline, because whenever, in a moment, there's going to be a change in the situation. Their existing contractor drops the ball. They've won a big sale, they've got more funds available now. The need is hit, you know, they just had an audit from the government and they need the service now because if not, they're going to be fined. Whatever, their situation can change. They're going to have new needs. We want them back into our sales process. And once they're back in our sales process, we can give them a proposal and then they can go on to negotiation decision, or it might be, again, I'm interested, but we can't quite close them. But we always want to keep them in our sales pipeline. We don't want them to leave. How do we do that? We always need to be in communication with them. We need to understand when they have a change in situation, because they probably won't think of us. If we're lucky, they might say, oh, yes, oh, you know, Marsha does this, I'll phone her. Probably they've forgotten about us with all their different distractions. If we are not on the ball and we don't spot this new opportunity, somebody else will benefit from it and all our efforts of marketing will be wasted. So we need to replace this initial communication with continuous communication. And we do that via our marketing. So social media, we're still reaching out to them, we're still communicating with them. We're still driving them to our webpage with offers and with articles of interest. We're still using our strategic partners to offer them combined value propositions. We're still inviting them to our events. We're still involving them when we run campaigns. We're still looking for referrals who can remind them that, listen, remember Jordan, that he does great web pages. So this is the marketing sales interaction that we need to establish. And we need to, once a person's in that pipeline, that's when we really want to keep them there. And it's far more effective to keep somebody in our pipeline and keep them engaged than it is to find somebody cold. So once you're in the pipeline, and this is where the web page again comes in, you know, you can drive, you know, you can give them offers on your web page. You know, remember we talked a month ago, I'd like to include you, we're offering a 10% discount for next month just for our followers of our web page or something. It's a great way of keeping them in the pipeline, keeping them engaged, and keeping them, your company, your services in the forefront of their minds. And normally nowadays, you know, you do need a CRM system. I would recommend. It's getting so complicated now. I don't know how many of you guys have a CRM system, a software, CRM software. I would, yeah, Jordan has one, yeah.
Yeah, we make them. That's
Sorry, say again?
yeah, we're bespoke software developers here, so
Okay.
that's another thing we do.
Yeah,
But
okay,
yeah,
okay, right.
definitely is.
You made, well, there you go. I'll recommend you to Jordan. Get in touch with Jordan to build your CRM.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's vital. Things are getting so complicated, and it takes so much time out of your business, especially when you're growing more and more. And you know, you can literally just have AI. Well, it's basically AI do it for you. You know,
Yeah.
save yourself so much time and money in the long run.
That's right. That's right. It's as Jordan says, this structure of keeping contact very quickly. You will build a client database in your pipeline of hundreds. And how do you keep that continual monitoring their change of situation without a CRM of some form? You can try and do it on Excel, you can try and do it on pad and paper, but it very soon becomes very unwieldy. So my recommendation would be you can use some of the standard ones, which you pay a monthly fee. You can get a bespoke one if you've got a particularly complicated pipeline that you need it to be personalized. There are a number of ways of doing it. And by the way, I'm not on a commission for CRM nor for Jordan, but my recommendation would be from the start, for you if you're starting out, if you don't have one, very quickly get in the habit of every contact, every bit of information you have, you put into your CRM. So if you see a post by one of your people in somebody posts something on LinkedIn, record that in your CRM, because when you contact them next time, you can say, listen, I saw your post on that. I found it very interesting. You are showing, one, an incredible level of personalized service. Two, you're taking an interest in them, and people love it when you take an interest in them. And three, that you're on the board and you're sharp, and that will differentiate you from the competition. So, every time you have an opportunity, and they call this knowing your customer. And as a small business, the best thing we can do is to know our customer better than the competition. And if we're competing against bigger companies, if our main competitors are the big boys or medium-sized companies and we're small, we can differentiate our services by knowing our customers better, in better detail. That will show them that if they contract us to do their work for them, they will get a far more personalized and individualized service than they get from the big boys. And CRM is essential for this, because but not just having a CRM, you need to load it with the data as well, but keep it updated so that when you're communicating with your customer, you are showing your potential customer, you are showing them that you understand them and you know them better than the competition. And who am I going to contract if I'm looking for somebody to do a critical service for me? I'm going to contract somebody who knows me. Might not know me personally, but they're saying they know my business. They understand my needs, they understand my wants, they understand my situation. And if I understand the situation better than the competition, even though I'm more expensive, I stand a good chance of being contracted, because the person is prepared to pay a higher rate for this added value. And that's a good way of battling this. There's always a downward pressure on price. Give me a discount, give me a discount. Know your customer via this continual communication supported by a CRM. So in summary, marketing strategies should be driven by our sales goals and not just activity for activity's sake. We should consider all the marketing channels, try them, taking into account the market sector and the client profiles. So again, which ones are going to drive us the leads that we need? It's no good, sorry Jordan, but it's no good having a web page if my client, and I have a client like this, if my client's clients don't have computers. You can have the best web page in the world, but if my clients don't have computers, my clients aren't going to win win new work. An omni-channel approach, which links and integrates the different channels, is very effective in creating the presence and creating the awareness. And once we've got qualified leads in our pipeline, we need to do everything possible to keep them there. Now, obviously, some are going to leave, they're going to go bankrupt, some are not qualified. By qualified, I mean we've identified that they do have a need for our services because of the nature of their business, but it might be that at this moment in time, they don't need us. But if we qualify them as being a company that, yes, might have a need for our services in the future, we need to keep them in our sales pipeline. And that's it. So any questions or comments on does that all make sense, more or less make sense?